And I want to share a little story about this land. In my language, my people, Salewat Ash. In our language, Salewat is our word for Burrard Inlet, or Indian Arm, Salewat. And Ash is a suffix that means like you belong to it, or ownership might be another way of trying to understand it, but it's like we belong to it, Salewat Ash. And we have many different words for saying the determiner the. And one of the words is ta. So when you put that in front of it, ta, Salewat Ash. The inlet, belonging to, and you have to qualify it with something to be proper in our language. So we would say Huelmo, a native person, or Misteo, a person. So if you put it all together, ta, Salewat Ash, Huelmo. So in my language, that would translate as the Burrard Inlet, belonging to, native person. But our name is also quite anglicized. We say Tsleil-Waututh. And I want to share a story from my family, and it's a story about this land. Our first ancestor was transformed from Stakaya, from the wolf, to Swaike, to a young boy. And as a young boy, he traveled all around Burrard Inlet, learning everything. And every time he learned something new, he would go to this cliff that overlooked the inlet. And he would say, Tita Siem, Eatsin Siatama, Tita Siem, Nikwath, Tsetsuat Amsh, Siem. He'd say, Great Spirit, I want to thank you. I'm grateful to you, Great Spirit. You've helped me. Nikwath Stotel Stomch, Siem. He said, You've also given me the understanding. And he learned from everything around him. He learned from the birds when the berries were going to be ripe high up in the mountain. He learned from the salmon about the cycle of life. Because the salmon is born in a little stream, it'll travel down into the ocean, but in a few years eventually return back to that little stream where it was born to give life and to die. He learned from Spa'ath, the bear, about how to look after the earth and about how to feed himself and about how to catch the salmon. He learned the cedar tree. He learned many things from the cedar tree, how to make clothing, how to make our longhouses, how to make the tools he needed, the canoes, all these things that came from the cedar tree. And so every time he learned something new, he would go back to this cliff. He'd say, I'm very grateful to you, the Great Spirit, for what you've shown me, what you've given me. And he grew. He grew in time. He grew in strength. He grew in knowledge. He grew in love. And he started to become a young man. Etsane, Wanansanu, Nako. Awata konsta'e ata swellap na shwatlakwa smamayathi mimak faki. He realized, wow, for the first time, I'm different than everyone around me. I have no fins. I have no feathers. I'm the only one that walks on two legs. And this made him feel sad. For the first time, he felt sad. He felt lonely. He was crying. And this sadness, it changed into like an anger that he'd never felt before. And so he went back to this cliff. He was upset with Chicha-Siem. And he was going to get angry with Chicha-Siem. But before he could do anything, he received a vision, and he saw himself in this vision. He was running. He heard a voice. The voice said, run. And so he started to run as fast as he could. And when he got to the edge of the cliff, he heard the voice say, Slum. The voice said, jump and go down towards the water. And so he did that. He dove down. into the water. And when he hit the water, he didn't stop. He kept going down and down into the darkness. And he looked above him. He could see Ait to Swale, Ait to Siakwam. He could see the sun in the daylight still coming through the surface, and below him the darkness. He kept swimming down and down, and he finally reached the bottom. He said, I'm going to grab the earth and rock and sediment that's underneath the salt water. And he carried it, he held it close to his heart, and he started to swim back to the surface. And he barely broke through the surface of the water as he gasped for his breath, and he staggered on the beach. And when he regained his senses, he took a large stick and he made a circle all the way around with this big stick. He made a huge circle. He cleared it, and he hayat kwa all the eyes hayat kwa to thi spinment, and he cleared the circle out. All his good feelings he put down in this circle, and he took all the debris that didn't belong in there, and he took everything out of this circle. And then he went back to Chapeas, Tichum, Chapeas, Leitzenu, Tzetsuat Amps, Cm, Chapeas. He said, please, cedar tree, he was pleading to the cedar tree, help me, I need your help. I'm weak and I'm afraid. And he took some branches from the cedar tree and he put them down in the middle of that circle. Nikwas shakatis kwa tamuch ata utset chapeas. And then he took all the earth and rock and sediment, everything he gathered from underneath the salt water, and he placed it down on top of the cedar boughs. And he laid down there. Chaim, Chaim, he was crying. He lay down, he was crying. He was defeated. He was defeated by the darkness of the ocean. He was defeated by his anger. He was defeated by his sorrow. And he was defeated by his feeling of being alone. And he laid there utterly defeated. And he heard a voice, eat it. The voice said, eat it. Sleep. I want you to sleep, the voice said. And so he lay there crying, and he was tired. When on Ititums, he was very tired. And he did go to sleep. He fell asleep there on the beach, and he slept right through the night. And he didn't wake up all through the night. Aita Netash. Netash, many people, we translate it to mean morning, Netash. But if you literally translate it, it's the time of day when you can see the light, but the sun is not above the horizon yet. That is Netash. This is the time that he was starting to stir, in the time of Netash. And Aita Siakwam, Etzene, Aita Siakwam. Wow, the sun finally started to come up. And it came down and touched my young grandfather. And he awoke. Etzene, I slani, ete. And he saw lying beside him was a beautiful woman. A gift from the womb of Mother Earth, from underneath the salt water. The Great Spirit told them, you must treat her with love and respect. If you do this, then your children will go on to flourish for years and years to come. And so this is my family story of creation, how we came to be here on this land, how our grandfather was transformed from a wolf, how our grandmother was born from the womb of the ocean. And I have dear family and I'm related into the Squamish people and the Musqueam people. And if you sit down with their families, they have these same beautiful stories about this land that we're celebrating Aboriginal Day on today. And so, again, I welcome all of you here onto onto this Coast Salish lands at the Chumathguim Salewatash of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh people. And I just want to share one song in closing, a song to celebrate my first grandmother, a song to